Welcome to our video channel, where we delve into the art of strategic warfare and explore the depths of tactical brilliance. Today, we unveil a method as ancient as it is effective, the tenacious way to destroy your enemies without ever engaging in direct conflict. In the annals of history, the most formidable victories were often won not on the battlefield, but through calculated maneuvers and relentless perseverance. This tenacious approach to warfare transcends mere physical confrontation, relying instead on wit, cunning, and the strategic manipulation of key elements. Imagine a battlefield where the clash of swords is replaced by the clash of currencies, and the roar of cannons is drowned out by the sound of legal briefs. In this realm, victory is not measured in bloodshed, but in the dismantling of your enemy's power structure brick by brick. Join us on this journey of discovery as we unravel the secrets of strategic warfare and unveil the tenacious path to destroying your enemies without ever raising a weapon. Prepare to witness the power of intellect, the strength of resilience, and the art of warfare in its most cunning form. Tip 1. Outsmart them. Outsmarting your enemies requires a combination of intelligence, strategic thinking, and foresight. Here's how you can effectively use this tactic to gain an advantage. Strategic planning. Take the time to analyze your enemy's motives, goals, and patterns of behavior. By understanding their mindset and objectives, you can anticipate their next moves and prepare your counter-strategy accordingly. Information gathering. Gather as much information as possible about your enemies, their strengths, weaknesses, and any vulnerabilities you can exploit. Knowledge is power, and having a comprehensive understanding of your adversaries will enable you to devise effective tactics. Stay agile, be flexible and adaptable in your approach. As situations evolve, be prepared to adjust your strategies and tactics to stay ahead of your enemies. Quick thinking and the ability to pivot when necessary are key to outsmarting them. Create diversions, use decoys, misinformation, or other tactics to divert your enemy's attention away from your true intentions. By creating distractions or false leads, you can confuse them and gain a strategic advantage. Think long-term. Consider the long-term implications of your actions and decisions. While short-term gains may be tempting, prioritize strategies that will yield sustainable benefits and position you for success in the future. Build alliances. Form alliances with individuals or groups who share your goals or have a common interest in countering your enemies. Collaborating with like-minded allies can amplify your resources and increase your strategic leverage. Maintain composure. Keep a cool head and avoid being drawn into emotional reactions or impulsive decisions. Rational thinking and a calm demeanor will help you assess situations objectively and make sound strategic choices. By employing these tactics and consistently honing your ability to outthink your enemies, you can effectively undermine their plans and emerge victorious in challenging situations. Remember, intelligence and strategic acumen are potent weapons in the arsenal of those who seek to outsmart their adversaries. Tip 2. Build strong alliances. Forming alliances with influential individuals or groups can be a powerful strategy in countering your enemies and strengthening your position. Here are some key points to consider when building strong alliances. Identify potential allies. Identify individuals or groups who share your values, goals, or have a common interest in countering your enemies. Look for allies who bring complementary skills, resources, or connections to the table. Establish trust. Building trust is essential in any alliance. Be transparent, honest, and reliable in your interactions with potential allies. Trust forms the foundation of strong partnerships and fosters collaboration. Mutual benefit. Ensure that the alliance is mutually beneficial for all parties involved. Clearly communicate the value proposition of the alliance and how each party stands to benefit from the collaboration. Clear communication. Maintain open and clear communication with your allies. Establish channels for regular communication, feedback, and decision-making processes to ensure alignment and coordination in your efforts. Strategic alignment. Ensure that your goals and strategies align with those of your allies. Work together to develop a shared vision and action plan that leverages each party's strengths and resources to achieve common objectives. Support and collaboration. Provide support to your allies when needed and be willing to collaborate on joint initiatives or projects. By working together towards shared goals, you can amplify your impact and effectiveness in countering your enemies. Adaptability. Be flexible and adaptable in your alliances. As circumstances change or new challenges arise, be prepared to adjust your alliances and strategies to stay responsive to evolving situations. Maintain relationships. Nurture and maintain your relationships with allies over time. Invest in building strong personal connections and rapport to sustain long-term partnerships that can withstand challenges and setbacks. By building strong alliances based on trust, mutual benefit, and strategic alignment, you can create a network of support and protection that enhances your ability to counteract your enemies and achieve your goals effectively. Remember, the strength of your alliances can be a decisive factor in overcoming obstacles and securing success in challenging situations. Tip 3. Undermine their reputation. Damaging your enemy's reputation can be a strategic way to weaken their influence and credibility. Here are some strategies to effectively undermine their reputation. Gather evidence. Collect factual and verifiable information that highlights your enemy's weaknesses, unethical behavior, or actions that could damage their reputation. Solid evidence will make your claims more credible and impactful. Spread truthful information. Focus on spreading truthful information that exposes your enemy's misdeeds or shortcomings. Avoid resorting to false or misleading statements, as this could backfire and damage your own credibility. Choose the right channels. Select appropriate channels to disseminate information about your enemies. This could include social media, reputable news outlets, industry publications, or influential individuals who can help amplify your message. Timing is key. Consider the timing of when you release damaging information about your enemies. Strategic timing can maximize the impact of your efforts and increase the likelihood of tarnishing their reputation effectively. Monitor and respond. Be prepared for potential pushback or retaliation from your enemies once you start undermining their reputation. Monitor their responses and be ready to counter any attempts to discredit your claims. Engage support. Enlist the support of allies, stakeholders, or individuals who may have a vested interest in exposing your enemy's misdeeds. Collaborating with others can amplify the reach and impact of your efforts to tarnish their reputation. Stay within legal boundaries. Ensure that your actions to undermine your enemy's reputation comply with legal and ethical standards. Avoid engaging in defamation or spreading false information, as this could lead to legal repercussions. Maintain integrity. While seeking to damage your enemy's reputation, it's crucial to maintain your own integrity and credibility. Focus on presenting facts and evidence in a clear and objective manner to strengthen your position. By strategically exposing your enemy's weaknesses and unethical behavior through truthful and well-documented information, you can effectively undermine their reputation and weaken their standing and credibility. Remember to approach this tactic with caution and ensure that your actions align with legal and ethical standards. Tip 4. Disrupt their plans. Disrupting your enemy's plans can be a proactive strategy to hinder their progress and impede their ability to achieve their goals. Here are some effective tactics to disrupt your enemy's plans. Gather intelligence. Conduct thorough research and gather intelligence to understand your enemy's objectives, strategies, and vulnerabilities. This information will help you identify key points where you can disrupt their plans effectively. Create obstacles. Introduce obstacles or challenges that disrupt the flow of your enemy's operations. This could involve implementing changes in regulations, introducing competitive products or services, or creating logistical hurdles that impede their progress. Generate distractions. Create distractions that divert your enemy's attention and resources away from their primary objectives. This could involve launching a marketing campaign that draws attention away from their initiatives or orchestrating events that require their immediate focus. Counter their moves. Anticipate your enemy's next moves and proactively counter their strategies. By staying one step ahead and disrupting their plans before they come to fruition, you can throw them off balance and limit their ability to execute their agenda. Form alliances. Collaborate with allies or like-minded individuals who can support your efforts to disrupt your enemy's plans. By pooling resources and expertise, you can amplify the impact of your disruptive tactics and increase the likelihood of success. Utilize technology. Leverage technology tools and platforms to disrupt your enemy's operations. This could involve launching cyber attacks, utilizing data analytics to identify vulnerabilities, or deploying automation to streamline your disruptive efforts. Maintain persistence. Disrupting your enemy's plans may require persistence and ongoing effort. Stay committed to your strategy and be prepared to adapt your tactics as needed to effectively disrupt their operations over the long term. Evaluate impact. Regularly assess the impact of your disruptive actions on your enemy's plans. Monitor their reactions and adjustments to your disruptions, and use this feedback to refine your strategies and enhance their effectiveness. By strategically disrupting your enemy's plans through obstacles, distractions, and proactive countermeasures, you can hinder their progress and limit their ability to achieve their goals. Remember to approach this tactic with careful planning and execution to maximize its effectiveness in countering your enemies. Tip 5. Use psychological warfare. Employing psychological tactics can be a powerful strategy to manipulate your enemy's perceptions and emotions, ultimately weakening their resolve and disrupting their plans. Here are some key psychological warfare tactics you can consider. Gaslighting. Gaslighting involves manipulating someone's perception of reality to make them doubt their own thoughts, memories, and sanity. By gaslighting your enemies, you can sow confusion and create a sense of uncertainty that undermines their confidence and decision-making. Misinformation. Spread deliberate misinformation or disinformation to create doubt and confusion among your enemies. By feeding them false or misleading information, you can manipulate their perceptions and lead them astray, disrupting their plans and strategies. Psychological manipulation. Use various forms of psychological manipulation, such as guilt-tripping, emotional manipulation, or playing on their fears and insecurities, to influence your enemy's behavior and decision-making. By exploiting their psychological vulnerabilities, you can weaken their resolve and control their actions. Propaganda. Employ propaganda techniques to shape public opinion and influence how your enemies are perceived by others. By controlling the narrative and disseminating biased or misleading information, you can tarnish their reputation and credibility, making it harder for them to garner support or maintain their influence. Mind games. Engage in psychological mind games that challenge your enemy's mental fortitude and resilience. By creating psychological pressure through subtle cues, mind tricks, or strategic maneuvers, you can unsettle them and disrupt their focus and decision-making process. Emotional warfare. Exploit emotional triggers and vulnerabilities to provoke strong emotional responses in your enemies. By manipulating their emotions, such as fear, anger, or insecurity, you can destabilize their mental state and impair their ability to think rationally and strategically. Reverse psychology. Use reverse psychology techniques to influence your enemy's behavior by suggesting the opposite of what you want them to do. By playing on their contrarian tendencies or desire for autonomy, you can subtly guide their actions in a direction that serves your interests. Maintain psychological resilience. while employing psychological warfare tactics, it's essential to maintain your own psychological resilience and ethical boundaries. Avoid crossing into unethical or harmful territory that could damage your own mental well-being or reputation. By leveraging psychological warfare tactics such as gaslighting, misinformation, and psychological manipulation, you can manipulate your enemy's perceptions and emotions to sow doubt, confusion, and weaken their resolve. Approach these tactics with caution and strategic intent to achieve your objectives effectively while safeguarding your own integrity and ethical standards. Tip 6. Financial warfare. Engaging in financial warfare can be a potent strategy to weaken your enemies by targeting their financial resources and stability. Here are some effective tactics you can employ to hit them where it hurts. Cut off funding sources. Identify and cut off your enemy's sources of funding, whether it be through sanctions, legal actions, or diplomatic pressure. By depriving them of financial support, you can undermine their ability to sustain their operations and initiatives. Sabotage economic ventures. Disrupt your enemy's economic ventures and investments by introducing obstacles or creating situations that impede their financial growth. This could involve sabotaging business deals, damaging their reputation in financial markets, or launching economic sanctions that restrict their trade and investments. Create financial difficulties. Introduce measures that create financial difficulties for your enemies, such as manipulating currency exchange rates, triggering economic crises, or imposing tariffs and trade barriers that hinder their economic activities. By destabilizing their financial stability, you can weaken their overall power and influence. Cyber financial attacks. Utilize cyber financial attacks to target your enemy's financial systems, networks, and assets. This could involve launching cyber attacks aimed at disrupting their financial transactions, stealing sensitive financial information, or causing chaos in their financial operations. Financial disinformation. Spread financial disinformation or rumors that undermine your enemy's financial credibility and stability. By manipulating financial markets or investor perceptions through false information, you can create uncertainty and erode trust in their financial capabilities. Asset seizures. Explore legal avenues to seize your enemy's assets or freeze their financial accounts through legal actions or international agreements. By targeting their assets, you can cripple their financial resources and limit their ability to fund their activities. Economic isolation. Isolate your enemies economically by persuading other nations or entities to cut off financial ties and cooperation with them. By creating economic isolation, you can further weaken their financial standing and limit their access to global financial resources. Financial intelligence. Invest in gathering financial intelligence to understand your enemy's financial vulnerabilities, assets, and transactions. This information can help you identify strategic points to target and effectively disrupt their financial stability and power. By engaging in financial warfare tactics such as cutting off funding sources, sabotaging economic ventures, and creating financial difficulties, you can strategically weaken your enemy's financial resources and stability. Approach these tactics with careful planning and consideration of potential consequences to maximize their impact and achieve your strategic objectives effectively. Tip 7. Legal maneuvering. Utilizing legal avenues can be a powerful strategy to challenge your enemies, hold them accountable for their actions, and create obstacles that impede their progress. Here are some effective tactics for leveraging the legal system to your advantage. Litigation. Initiate legal proceedings against your enemies to challenge their actions, seek damages, or compel them to comply with legal requirements. By taking them to court, you can force them to defend themselves, incur legal costs, and potentially face legal consequences for their wrongdoing. Legal investigations. Conduct legal investigations to uncover any misconduct, fraud, or illegal activities committed by your enemies. By gathering evidence and building a strong legal case, you can expose their wrongdoing and hold them accountable under the law. Regulatory actions: work with regulatory bodies or government agencies to initiate regulatory actions against your enemies. This could involve filing complaints, requesting investigations, or advocating for regulatory measures that restrict their activities or impose sanctions on them. Compliance challenges: identify areas where your enemies may be non-compliant with laws, regulations, or industry standards, and use this information to challenge their operations or demand corrective actions. By highlighting their lack of compliance, you can create legal liabilities for them to address. Legal threats: issue legal threats or warnings to signal your intent to take legal action against your enemies if they do not change their behavior or comply with your demands. By demonstrating your willingness to pursue legal recourse, you can pressure them to reconsider their actions. Legal reputational damage: use legal actions to tarnish your enemy's reputation and credibility in legal circles or public perception. By exposing legal violations or unethical behavior through legal proceedings, you can damage their standing and influence. Strategic alliances: form strategic alliances with legal experts, law firms, or advocacy groups that can support your legal maneuvers and provide expertise in navigating complex legal challenges. By leveraging external legal resources, you can strengthen your legal position and maximize the impact of your legal actions. International legal frameworks: explore international legal frameworks, treaties, or agreements that can be used to hold your enemies accountable on a global scale. By leveraging international legal mechanisms, you can broaden the scope of legal actions against them and increase the pressure on them to comply with legal standards. By employing legal maneuvering tactics such as litigation, legal investigations, regulatory actions, and compliance challenges, you can use the legal system to your advantage, challenge your enemies, and create legal obstacles for them to navigate. Approach these tactics strategically and ethically to achieve your objectives within the bounds of the law and uphold the principles of justice and accountability. Tip 8: isolate them. Isolating your enemies from key sources of support and influence can significantly weaken their position and limit their ability to retaliate. Here are some strategies you can employ to effectively isolate your enemies. Diplomatic isolation: work to diplomatically isolate your enemies by persuading key allies and partners to distance themselves from them. By undermining their diplomatic relationships and alliances, you can reduce their international support and influence. Economic isolation: implement economic measures such as sanctions, trade restrictions, or financial penalties to isolate your enemies economically. By cutting off their access to vital resources, markets, and financial support, you can weaken their economic stability and power. Political isolation: utilize political strategies to isolate your enemies within their own political sphere. This could involve supporting opposition groups, promoting internal dissent, or leveraging political alliances to marginalize their influence and power. Social isolation: foster social isolation by exposing and publicizing negative aspects of your enemy's actions or character. By tarnishing their reputation and credibility in the public eye, you can weaken their social support and influence. Information isolation: control the flow of information and narratives surrounding your enemies to limit their ability to shape public opinion or garner support. By countering their propaganda and disinformation efforts, you can undermine their credibility and influence. Technological isolation: utilize technological measures to isolate your enemies in the digital realm. This could involve disrupting their online activities, blocking their access to communication channels, or conducting cyber operations to limit their technological capabilities. Cultural isolation: promote cultural isolation by highlighting differences in values, beliefs, or practices between your enemies and potential supporters. By emphasizing cultural divides, you can weaken their ability to connect with and influence diverse audiences. Strategic alliances. Form strategic alliances with like-minded partners, organizations, or nations to collectively isolate your enemies. By building a coalition of allies committed to isolating and countering your enemies, you can amplify the impact of isolation efforts. Multilateral approaches. Engage in multilateral initiatives, such as international organizations or agreements, to coordinate efforts to isolate your enemies on a broader scale. By leveraging multilateral platforms, you can mobilize collective action to isolate and pressure your enemies effectively. By implementing strategies to isolate your enemies diplomatically, economically, politically, socially, informationally, technologically, culturally, and through strategic alliances, you can weaken their position, limit their ability to retaliate, and increase the pressure on them to change their behavior or face consequences. Approach isolation tactics strategically and ethically to achieve your objectives while upholding principles of diplomacy and international cooperation. Tip 9. Lead by example. Leading by example is a powerful strategy to inspire others, build trust, and create a strong foundation that can withstand challenges and attempts to undermine you. Here are some key principles to embody as you lead by example. Strong leadership. Demonstrate strong leadership qualities such as vision, decisiveness, and empathy. Lead with clarity, purpose, and a focus on achieving common goals that unite and motivate your team or followers. Integrity. Uphold high ethical standards and demonstrate integrity in all your actions. Act with honesty, transparency, and accountability, earning the trust and respect of those around you. Resilience. Show resilience in the face of adversity and setbacks. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, learning, and innovation, inspiring others to persevere in difficult times. Courage. Display courage in making tough decisions and standing up for what is right, even in the face of opposition or criticism. Be willing to take calculated risks and challenge the status quo when necessary. Empathy. Cultivate empathy and compassion towards others, understanding their perspectives, needs, and feelings. By showing empathy, you can build stronger relationships, foster collaboration, and create a supportive environment for all. Accountability. Hold yourself accountable for your actions and decisions, taking ownership of both successes and failures. By setting an example of accountability, you encourage others to do the same and foster a culture of responsibility. Adaptability. Be adaptable and flexible in your approach, willing to adjust strategies and plans in response to changing circumstances. Embrace innovation and continuous improvement to stay ahead of challenges and opportunities. Communication. Communicate effectively and transparently with your team or followers, keeping them informed, engaged, and motivated. Listen actively, provide feedback, and foster open dialogue to build trust and collaboration.